new features, guys, so that way it's not complete silence at the beginning of your call. Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Move Monday. And this is a very special one for this year. New year, new goals. And we have our very special guests here today of Mo and Avery. So it'll be great. And it looks like we've got it all set up. So I think we can start. Uh, Obviously, let's start with good introductions. My name is Greg. I'm uh, Camille. Can you mute yourself, please? Um, so, anyways, my name's Greg. I'm a developer here at Aptos. I work in developer relations, the developer experience, as well as the SDKs, the tools, and everything. You might see me in Discord answering people's questions, and sometimes I host Move Mondays when Max isn't here to have his beautiful voice spoken so much. So, welcome. And now I'll introduce both Mo and Avery. I'll let them introduce themselves. So, Mo, go ahead.
Hey everyone. Can you guys hear me okay real quick?
Yeah.
Cool. I'm Mo, co-founder and CEO of Aptos. Awesome to be here with everyone. Great to see the beautiful Aptos community. I'll keep my intro very quickly because keep it short because I think we want to get into the meat of things and we're here for everyone else. But started off I'm a first generation Pakistani immigrant. Grew up in Brooklyn, New York. Ended up working in finance after studying economics and psychology. And in 2016, after going, working on some crypto related stuff, I took the official deep dive and really got to know the space through building in the Ethereum ecosystem for during very early days. Fast forward, I had a couple of startups that ended up getting acquired, one within the Ethereum ecosystem, but had a chance to read the Libra white paper, which Avery and a lot of folks on this team helped co-authored. And one of the challenges that I saw was, crypto was not getting the mainstream adoption that it needed. It was not growing as fast as we had all hoped for it to grow, especially with the vision and the power that Web3 and crypto really brings to this world. The infrastructure did not scale for billions of people, and Avery's going to talk a lot more about that in detail. But after reading that paper, I had to bite the bullet and join Facebook to be a part of the project, and got to work on some really cool go-to-market stuff. Eventually, we had an opportunity to take this technology and bring it to the world in a much larger way. And that's when Avery and I ended up leaving Facebook last year to get us going. We're obviously really excited to be on this mission, not only together but with an amazing Aptos team that we have, along with the amazing community that we've built over the last year. So, with that, Avery, I can pass it to you.
Thanks a lot, and a great introduction, Mo. My name's Avery. I'll keep this hopefully briefer than Mo did, but just quick background for me. I grew up in Honolulu, Hawaii. Moved out to the mainland to go to school. And did a background in high performance computing. Worked a bunch of different national laboratories on some of the world's largest supercomputers around the world. Thinking on ways in which you could scale to millions or even larger numbers of cores for the largest scientific applications in the world. After that, I went to Yahoo for 4 years to work on data infrastructure and web search, and then came to Facebook and Meta to work on 10 years on data infrastructure for the first 7. And for the last 3 was one of the lucky early folks that got into the Libra project and helped to build out the team and the technology stack. And I'm really fortunate to actually work with many of those former teammates, including Greg and Wolfgang, who are here as well for many years and continue to do so going forward. We're obviously very excited about what we're doing with Aptos and our ability to, as technologists, have a chance to kind of change society for the better. I think that's something very rare for people who work in engineering to have a chance to do. And this year in 2023, we're super excited about the opportunities available for us and also for the space in general. Nice to meet you all.
Greg, before you get into things, should we give a quick little? Can I give a quick little side story about how Avery and I met and got along?
Yeah, I haven't heard this story, so tell
All
us.
right. Yeah. It was NFT NYC where Avery and I really got to meet. after having worked together for several months. And it's obviously Avery's much taller in person than I saw him in his Zoom chair. But it was cool because we were talking about all the different things that we like to do, and he asked me what kind of music I listen to, and I told him I really like hip hop and rap, and he was like, "Oh, who's your favorite artist?" I told him Tupac, and he was like, "No way, Tupac is my favorite artist." And then we're just talking about a couple other things that we like to do, and of course, he happened to love basketball with his amazing height. And fast forward, here we are. But for a lot of people don't know, for the first few months of when I moved to Palo Alto from Brooklyn, New York, we really bonded over playing basketball on weekends and getting to know each other. You get to really know someone and who they are when you see them on the court. But it wasn't just me and Avery. We had Rati and Sasha on our research team. January 1st of 2022, what these guys wanted to do was get on the basketball court and get to play with each play with us. And here we are. We still like to ball. In fact, I think we have a makeshift basketball hoop in our office. And if anyone in the community ever wants to come down, they can join us in a little indoor game. So figured wanted to share a little bit of that mini story before we dive into things.
Yeah, thanks, Mo. And yeah, I have tried the basketball net. It's actually a little hard because it hits a rafter on the way to the basketball net inside, but it's still fun. Cool. So let's just talk about some of the new plans we have for the year, um, and how we're excited to support developers this year. Uh, Avery, do you have anything you want to first speak about?
Absolutely. So last year, I think it's pretty clear to everyone, we were very focused on launching the network and making sure that it was going to be something that we could be proud of in terms of the performance, in terms of reliability, the safety, obviously aspects of it. And in October, you're able to make that dream kind of come true. And I think this is one of the fastest times the network's ever been launched. From a blockchain company, and definitely the response we saw the community was absolutely wonderful. So many projects came live with us on day one. Seeing things like Wormhole and Layer Zero and different kinds of DeFi products, as well as different kinds of NFT projects coming on board so quickly. It's something that I think has never happened before in industry, and we're really super excited about the community that's come together to kind of help support Aptos and I think in Web3 in general on this new infrastructure layer. So this year, I think, we're not satisfied, of course, where we're at yet. Going back into the problem we're trying to solve, thinking about what cloud infrastructure has done for kind of internet applications today. You have this amazing ability for millions of machines to kind of support applications such as Meta and Instagram and Netflix and Amazon. We need to get there with Web3. And so considering where the technology is today, there's obviously a large gap between where we are today and where we need to be. And so we're excited about being a very high throughput, low latency network in production. I think probably the best in those spaces today. And going forward, we have very new technology advancements, I think, that will be coming out in the soon future with our roadmap to kind of describe how we're going to get to 10x or 50x that in the coming year. So I think that's immediately top of mind. And with respect to developer experience, we have some very interesting new opportunities with speaking with different teams that are building on top of Move with Aptos. That have given us different feedback around things around gas pricing, around different programming models and things they want to see, such as view functions or objects. And we have exciting plans about those coming up in the future as well. From the ecosystem side, we also see a ton of new exciting partnerships that have been launching with Aptos, including nPixel and Google. Definitely can see, look on Twitter for those handles and follow those projects as well. But overall, our mission really is to think about how do we onboard billions of people into Web3. And I think we're making great steps towards that in terms of technology base, in terms of the ecosystem building around it, and in terms of the community that we see coming up and building up in a way that's never been seen before.
Yeah, maybe I can jump in a little bit. I think Avery did an amazing job covering what the history and what the roadmap looks like. I think what we think about for 2023, now that the network is out, is what are the use cases that people are excited to see? Gaming, as Avery pointed out, with partners like Metapixel, have been picking up a lot of steam. In fact, if you're following us, you probably know some of our team is actually down in Korea right now, working with collaborating with some of the folks out there. In fact, when we think about community growth and use cases, we don't start with a US centric approach, even though we're based in California, we think about being global first, right? That's where we wanted to make sure that we make traction along those lines. And so the first World Hackathon or World Tour Hackathon stop is in Seoul and in Korea. So we're looking forward to being on the ground, and we're looking forward to what the Korean community is going to be building. Or I think a lot of people actually traveling out to Seoul to build with us. But at the same time, we're going to be in pockets globally throughout the year. And I think our team has shared a very nice graphic and map of all the stops that we'll be making. But as we think about community growth, we think about it globally. And so, if you're interested in building on top of us or working with us, please don't be shy. Reach out to us, participate in our hackathons, ask us questions. Our team is extremely responsive to the best that we can be. Austin does a great job covering the ground from a community perspective, but we also have an amazing BD and partnerships team where, we are able to work with all the large companies just as much as we're able to work with a lot of the community members along the way. And we think, the future of Web3 and crypto adoption is going to be a world where both of those communities can work closer together. So excited to bring that forward in 2023. Gaming is obviously at the center of that. Things like payments helps a lot. Being able to send money across the world seamlessly through stable coins and even share economic value is going to be really meaningful and propelling Web3 adoption forward in 2023.
Yeah, it's super exciting. And I actually last night grabbed my Grand Saga NFT that it looked like NPixel announced yesterday. So it's exciting stuff. I know that a lot of people have asked what sort of like our next ideas are for the world tour, like next places as well, because in our type form, we had actually a lot of different questions about why not when next to X and when next to Z. But I think it's great. Mo, do you have any ideas there?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think we've looked at all the major cities. We're very transparent, and I'll share a little bit of our kind of selection framework for holding a world tour stop. I think the most important thing that matters to us is what does our community really want, and Seoul really raised their hands in a very powerful way. And we paid attention to that, and that's partly why we picked Seoul as our first stop. But the other things that really matter to us is not only what does our community want, but how accessible is a city for people to be able to get to. So Seoul might make sense because they're a major hub, and if you're in Tokyo or if you're in Indonesia, you might be willing to take a flight over to Seoul, and so that covers a really good part of the world with that first world tour stop. Other cities that we've considered are places like Berlin and Amsterdam to potentially cover Europe, London, obviously, also potentially, and Paris as well. Now, it kind of comes down to what kind of infrastructure is there to support us. Again, how big are the communities? And then we also think about, what are the timelines associated with other events that might be taking place in the Web3 world. We don't want people to only fly out just for us, but if there's a lot of excitement, a general excitement going on in Web3, in the broader Web3 community, we want to work with those folks. Our goal is to work with communities where they are today and bring the Aptos community along the journey as well. So as we think about different stops in different parts of the world, Europe is definitely on our list. We're actually considering Nigeria potentially for covering Africa. LATAM is on the radar as well. We're looking at places like Dubai and a few other major cities that we think fit the script when it comes to that selection framework. So hopefully those announcements will be going live soon as we continue to get feedback from the community. But a lot of that stuff, a lot of those stops are already in the works, and we'll actually look to you guys to give us feedback and input on where you want to see us next or where you want to meet our teams next.
Just to jump in as well, besides what Mo said, obviously we would love the fact that some of the communities themselves are actually producing their own meetups, and we can just kind of help participate in those. I think there was one recently in India. There's also one that kind of is coming ad hoc, probably in Taiwan at some point soon. We love those kind of grassroots efforts to help talk about Aptos and share the cool things that are going on, and just kind of reach out, let our team know if you're interested in hosting those meetups, and we'll see how we can help out as well.
Man, there was one in it's a great point, Avery. There was the meetup in New York that even I didn't get invited to, and so I think that's what we really do love to see. In addition to what we're our efforts, and so if you are interested in putting together a grassroots meetup in your local city, reach out to us. We would love to help you support, make that happen. Whether it's buying drinks or finding a venue, it's all about you guys, and we want to make sure we empower you to do that. Build the communities wherever you think we should be.
Great. Another big question I've been seeing from a lot of the people in the Type forum was, where do you see the blockchain industry in 10 to 20 years and just the future of blockchains in general?
It's a great question. I think I touched on this a little bit earlier. In 10 to 20 years, we hope that many of the internet applications today are actually built on Web3 instead of Web2. The idea that these database, and what's holding that back today? I think there are a couple of things, but one of the biggest challenges, obviously, is the infrastructure is just not ready yet. The technology is not ready to support the scale of billions of people interacting daily, or even more, on top of the kind of current state of the world. And that's really the big goal of what Aptos is trying to do: support infrastructure that can scale to worldwide applications, and to support not just one or two applications, but all the many of the applications across the world that would change society in a way where people own their decentralized assets, where people have a chance to interact with each other in a trustless manner, but securely and safely, and that people would kind of reclaim the power that was meant for them in the original vision of the internet.
Yeah, I mean, blockchain, it's come a long way, but I know that there's a ton of new things to go for it. I'm super excited myself as a developer as well. Uh, let's see what other questions we have here, and then I will call some people up as well later to speak. Mo, did you have something you want to say?
No, I think Avery's right, right? Like I think the infrastructure is finally being taken very seriously. It's we think it's actually good that people are becoming more disciplined and paying attention to why the infrastructure really matters, given all we've seen in the market. And so I'm personally excited about people taking a more diligent approach to deciding on how to build responsibly for Web3 and how to build for scale. And so that's certainly a really important theme to pay attention to. But I think the use cases are really starting to formalize in a good way. And again, this is where I think topics like the metaverse are very interesting topics to explore. And I know that was a really big topic that was covered at CES this year. But as we think about the metaverse, it doesn't come to life in a silo, right? The beauty of a digital submersive environment where you can connect with people across the world seamlessly in real time is not only for the aspect of being able to share experiences like being in a game together, but also share knowledge together. And that knowledge typically may or often sometimes can lead to like creating economic value together. And the problem I think that's existed is when that value was created, it sat in silos. So, if Avery was in Hawaii and I was in Thailand, although we may be able to share ideas of working together, we may not be able to build together and be able to, launch a product that has, incentives aligned where we both benefit. In a world where you can do that seamlessly, you want to be able to share economic value because I want to continue building with Avery, but I may not be able to access venture capital funds because Avery is in a more is strategically in a different location, right? He might have access to capital. With things like tokens, you can change that completely. And so, what I'm really excited about is not only can you share information seamlessly, but you can build those ideas can turn into projects. Those projects can turn into real businesses and startups. And those startups can have ways of funding and building for the future in ways, human society has not seen, right? And so, it's kind of it's scary, but it's really cool to think about all the different ideas that can now start to come together and come to market in a global way. And a lot of this stuff also, again, doesn't happen in silos. You're seeing things like AI really take off in a big way. So now imagine adding all these technological innovations together, the ability to share economic value together, I think we have no idea what 2023 is going to lead us to, and the renaissance that this might kick off this year.
Great. And just switching topics a little bit, since a lot of the questions did focus around incentives. So people are asking, how do we, as Aptos, plan to attract builders of other blockchains and just builders in general to the ecosystem?
That's another great question. The way I would think about it is first of all, like the simplest answer is really just you should definitely apply, to Aptos Foundation for a grant. There's a program there that is amazing and has funded many different projects in various forms to support building Aptos ecosystem. And I think that's a great way to get involved with the community. Other ways to get involved, obviously, is through our Discord channel and through kind of reaching out to some of our ecosystem members. But anyone who's kind of interested in terms of building on the new internet, I think should take a look at Aptos and Movement specifically. There are so many developers in the world, millions of developers on different kinds of programming languages that should just see what can we do with the smart contracts platform. That think about how these contracts that have been coded in everyday life, whether it's things around escrow and real estate or in other forms of kind of enforcing two agreements between two different parties, should think about what a smart contracts platform can do to you and how it can make things much more efficient. And how easy it is to do with Move and how safe it is to do with Move. We have Wolfgang on, who's kind of created the Move Prover, the first of its kind, a formally verified specification for how do you think about the correctness in different other properties around different contracts, for example, and just how this world changes when you think about what tools are available for you with the Move experience, developer experience specifically, on top of a high performance blockchain such as Aptos that can actually scale to your largest user needs. So that's usually the way that we think about people getting involved in the process, and we want to make sure that we empower developers through the hackathon programs that we're running, through the community-driven hackathons that are happening in local communities, and also just people want to stop by and have a chat with us either through Twitter virtually or come by our office. As Mo mentioned, we got a basketball hoop inside the office. We're happy to share it with you and take some shots, and hopefully don't hit the rafters. But we're definitely wanting to meet up as many people as possible and chat with you and learn about what you're interested in building and how you want to disrupt the industry going forward. And we want to be part of that journey with you.
Avery's crazy. We do things that don't scale, and so I guess we now have an open invitation to our office out there. So if you do want to come hang out with us, we take it very seriously. We want to get to know you. I wish Twitter Spaces would evolve and do video streaming. I'd love to show you guys a quick clip. Maybe we'll record something and post it on Twitter later this week. But we have space for you, right? The first hackathon that we put together last year, it wasn't something that we spent hours and hours thinking about. We were just so excited to get our stuff. Get Aptos in the hands of the community, and everyone from the country and globally came down and joined us. And we were just so inspired by what they built, where we were like, wait a minute, guys, don't leave, stay with us. And they wanted to stay with us too. So we ended up incubating them and actually running our first accelerator program where we gave them grants, and they sat in our offices and built with us. And some of those projects have now gone on to raise multi-million-dollar checks from some of the world's best VCs. And so, we can't take any credit for that. All we can say is, we will help you get to wherever you want to go. And so you bring your vision, you bring your team, and we will add the fuel that you need to get to where you want to go. And if that means you're going to be jumping into our accelerator program that I think we're working on announcing, or if you just want to show up and say, hey, can we get a few desks and hang out for a few months? Come on down. We're not shy about that. We'd love to host you in Palo Alto and figure out a way of making that happen. It's not scalable. I get it. But again, Avery and I are crazy in that way. We also have a ping pong table. We also have a little gym in the back. So it doesn't all have to be about basketball. We have yogas on Wednesdays that Perry from our team hosts. So there's diversity in events to really get everyone up and running in different ways.
Yeah, one thing I just want to add on here is, right, like there's nothing today where any Web3 application has massive adoption. And so we're looking to build, like it's early across the board. It's early in Aptos, it's early in the Web3 space in general. And we're looking for all kinds of builders and folks that with big dreams to come and pursue them with us together and partner with our team in terms of making helping us to achieve those goals of helping society.
All right. And I think people are getting antsy to speak, seeing some of the things coming from them. So I'm going to bring up some of the people. I apologize that there's no real ordering to the request system. So I'm going to try to pull up people in order that I saw as far as I remember. Thanks. Welcome, Chadley. And I'm going to bring up one at a time, but I'll leave you in to talk as well and get the conversation going. Chadley, you're on.
Hey, thank you so much. Are we just really asking general questions of sort of what's coming up?
Yeah, general questions, whatever questions you have for both technical questions and non-technical questions.
Yep.
We've got me from the software team as well as a couple Move team people, and then we have both Mo and Avery.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think my question is that I think the sort of like hacker houses or global, hacker houses that you guys are going to be doing are great. I found that, the ones that, of course, Solana did over these past 1 to 2 years or so were, I think, really crucial for, of course, both developers and just general community building stuff. And so I sort of applaud that. Was wondering though, I think with that, right? I think it's now sort of a requirement maybe for any building L1 to do that. But maybe if you guys know sort of what maybe differentiating factor that you guys maybe want to bring to some of those hacker houses that I think would be different from, either really Sui or Solana or any other, sort of L1 that's going to be building or doing a hacker house like that or builder house.
Yeah, I can kind of go first, and then Avery definitely jump in. So I think hacker houses have definitely been an interesting thing. We've had an opportunity to check out a few of them ourselves, and I think they do an amazing job of bringing the community together. In fact, I think they bring a lot of people that may not necessarily just be builders together. And so when we were thinking about what our goal is from a building perspective, we want to create a very conducive environment for getting projects out. And so that was one of the things that we thought was missing in kind of these large scale hacker houses. So we've taken a more intimate and smaller approach. And again, we get it that this is not something that necessarily scales, but we want there to be a group of high quality people that are excited about building. And we want to bring those communities together, not only with each other, but also with us. And so at these hacker houses, we don't even really call them hacker houses. These are just very traditional hackathons where we have a venue that is built in a very inclusive way. It doesn't necessarily feel like it's a club with large neon lights going, but it's no frills, right? At our first hackathon, we ordered all the food that the hackathon members wanted, and we're going to do the same at all the hackathons that we set up across the world, and it's going to have a local presence. So our teams will be there, right? I will be there. Avery will be there. In fact, we'll be together in Seoul along with our team. And so when people have questions about how to make design decisions for their product, how they think about go-to-market strategy, and how they want to even think about their product roadmap and get to market and maybe even fundraising, we believe that we have some valuable lessons that we can share, and we want to do that in a way that it's intimate and personalized rather than creating these very large environments that may leave people and builders confused. Over time, I think we have there's no escape. These will grow larger and larger as demand grows larger in the community. But we believe that having an intimate start will help us scale and get to that large community presence in a much more thoughtful way. Last thing, and then I'll kind of pass it off to Avery because I know he wants to jump in here too. But again, we're bringing people into our house, right? Like we I don't know how many people do that, or even when like someone like Google has a hackathon, I don't think they open up their offices. In fact, we're working on seeing how we can change that with Google in the future. But we're going to have our San Francisco hackathon later this year, and it's not going to be at some warehouse that we rent out, down the block or somewhere. it's going to be in our office, and so you'll get a chance to see what we live on a day-to-day basis and connect with our team, and that proximity we think is going to be extremely valuable.
I think that's all this. Yeah, that's definitely true, Mo. There's a lot of things we have planned on the pipe in the hackathon side. I just want to also emphasize on the developer side, there's a ton of cool things going on. Probably people don't really know this today, but there are over 450 developers that have contributed to the DM, but not the DM, used to be formerly the DM, but the Aptos blockchain going forward in the future. And that is one of the largest developer bases, if not the largest developer base for a blockchain in the industry so far. Additionally, from the AIP perspective, which is our Aptos improvement protocol, we've kicked it off recently. There's already been 2 or 3 different community proposals that are getting a lot of traction in Steam. And what we kind of see is from the core developer side, a ton of different traction coming on board, both on the protocol as well as the kind of way we think about improving the protocol going forward in the future. Something that we're super excited about, and we kind of encourage people to keep building and working with us on this. It's going to be a community effort, and it's going to be something that requires a city or a country going to help move in the right direction.
And just one last point on that. If Chadley, if you want to host a hackathon somewhere in the world, I mean, let us know. We'd love to help support and make that happen.
Absolutely. I think I'm not sure if you guys are doing one in Austin this year, Austin, Texas, but I'd be happy to discuss that, and great friends with a lot of the of course people on Aptos, Tsunami specifically, and would love to figure out how to do that here.
Giddy up. My wife is from San Antonio, Texas. Go Longhorns. And then I'm always down for some good barbecue. So I would love to see something happen in Austin.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks. And it looks like a couple of requests have dropped off here, but I think next here is Shamrock. I appreciate the Aptomingo. It's got like a curvy electric sword or something. Welcome, Shamrock.
Oh, hello. I'm actually here.
Welcome.
Yeah. Hello, Greg. Hello, Mo. Hello, Avery. I'm actually very, very nervous to be here. First of all, English is not my native, so I will actually try to pick up the words and ask what I have in my mind. So, you have the latest tricky announcement about creatives around the world. And this is really, some hyped phrase for all the creative people on the blockchain in Web3 and overall and in Aptos also. And we're all very, very curious about this, teaser. And I wish to ask from a perspective of person who is not actually running any, big project, because we're saying about, the founders of projects and many things from the project perspective, and how actually a person like me can contribute for Aptos and blockchain, and what benefits a person like me may have from Aptos, and how we can get the win-win situation for each other. Let it be like this.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mo.
Cool. Yeah, cool. I can kind of take this one, and I don't know if Austin's in here, but he could, he can kind of jump in too. First of all, Shamrock, great to hear your voice. And it's been great chatting with you in the sidelines as well. I mean, creators are probably some of the most important people, right? And you don't have to be someone who paints or works on digital art projects to be a creator. You can be writing music. I personally like to write poetry, and I'm an amateur creator. I mean, Avery is a creator. We are all, in a sense, creators. And so as we think about the creator program, we want to be able to capture the breadth of people that are creating across the space. And so, whether you're kind of a gift lord or you're excited about, doing things that are not necessarily in line with just building a Web3 native application, we think of those people as creators. And so Austin is going to be releasing some very exciting stuff that covers that breadth of creation. And so, again, whether that's digital art or music, or again, even creating up a product, we want to help those creators get to where they are. I think the one thing to pay attention to is typically those people have been left out in the cold, right? Like, think about all the work that you've been doing where, you don't typically get noticed until you make it big. And what we wanted to do was solve that problem by making sure, people that are smaller artists, people that are new, and also people that have been building for a while and want to bring their communities over to Web3, don't have to make a difficult decision around, well, is there enough money for me here to do it? And so with the grants program, we're going to be able to solve that problem. Where if you are excited about Web3, whether you're just dipping your toes or really you see the power of what Aptos can bring relative to wherever else you might have been building, we want to help those creators not have to worry about an economic decision as the only deciding factor. We want creators to be able to build and bring the art that they bring to the world without having to compromise because, is there enough money here for me to do it?
Oh, that's actually cool. And very, very, very exciting because, why actually I choose GIF animations? Because for now, actually, we live in how I call this TikTok era, because where people, have lots of information here and there, and their attention need to be, and I'm 35 years old. I still remember, good old days with the slow internet, and where the first GIF animations were, on the internet, and how attractive it was. It had you to not have some high speed internet. You had to just convert your video file into this type of file and upload it, and it was really attractive. And I believe that for now GIFs actually got their second chance of life in the Web3. That's why I really like to create those, and I really believe it's a part of Web3. And I see in Aptos these how to say it, like a road to make GIFs great again. Let's say it like this.
That's nice. Yeah, I mean, we have a whole bunch of memes on our wall. Sadly, we haven't figured out how to get GIFs onto paper and still animate. I'm going to bring up now Aptos Art Museum to talk. I know that Avery and Mo, there's a picture of them on one of their art museum walls, I think.
And thanks for letting me speak, and thanks for your time. I really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, of course. Thanks for coming.
Yes,
Aptos Art Museum, you're on.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Firstly, I want to thank you all Aptos team. And it's a great honor for me to being here and to being with you. As an issue,
question?
yes. What kind of improvisations can be done in Web3, especially on Aptos chain?
That's a great question. First of all, I just want to say that I really enjoyed walking through Aptos Art Gallery. Although it's a little intimidating to see pictures of myself or with Mo of such scale in those things, but it's an amazing product, and we hope that you guys keep working on it and working with many of the other projects in the space to actually bring our Aptos Art Gallery to life. And so super excited about the work you guys are doing, first of all. When we think about the innovations, I kind of, again, mentioning this, actually the previous speaker, Shamrock, actually kind of alluded to this very nicely. Today, we're kind of in the world of dial-up of Web3, where things are, not as performant as it can be. Definitely, I'm quite a bit older as well. I was in the early days. I used dial-up in the past where I had to, contend with my siblings in terms of who was going to use the computer versus the phone line. Those are fun times. And now, like, kind of, again, this cycle repeats a little bit as we're in the early days of technology with respect to blockchain infrastructure. But as you see a chain like Aptos that comes out that can support the throughput that's required for something like a Visa network and support the latency that's required for kind of low latency financial transactions or any transaction of nature that kind of would impede the user experience typically. Going back to gaming, if you're using a game, you're playing a game and you want to transfer NFTs between players or finish a quest and try to get a random reward, we can't be waiting a long period of time for those transactions to take effect. They impede the game experience first and foremost. We're looking for ways to actually see that innovation where you have a better experience in Web 2, where you have something that's very responsive, that's something that where you actually still own those assets, and now it's actually a superior experience because not only are you getting that kind of same experience you had with Web 2, but you're also having the ownership of those assets over time. And I think that innovation is something that's going to really change the industry going forward across every platform, every area, gaming, social, media and entertainment, as well as finance. That's something that we see as pivotal to the way that we think about the way people interact with the internet today. And we're really excited about bringing those innovations forward through the technology of the Aptos blockchain. And so already today, if you try to use Aptos blockchain, you can see most transactions complete within a second or less. Download the Petro wallet or any other wallet. There's great ones out there, Martian, Software, and others that have done Arise, that have done amazing job building products. And those transactions are very fast and with finality. And so in many ways, you can already see that experience start to exceed that of what we do with banking today and how slow that process is. Those innovations will continue to develop on Aptos, and we're going to be pushing forward with some really exciting roadmaps from the technical side this coming year. We hope to share them in the coming months, but you can kind of see hints of them already happening in the EIP proposals. So I would take a look there and kind of get a good glimpse into the future of where the technology is headed.
Thanks, Aptos Art Museum. And we have about 15 minutes left, so I want to see if I can get as many people up as possible to be inclusive of everyone as much as possible. And I'm trying my best to figure out whether I missed you or not based on the ordering. This is just my best memory that I can possibly get, so try my best. So I'm inviting up akavadao.eth. Oh, and I guess I can do Max's spiel. Do you know anybody who needs a job in Web3? We have plenty of careers open at careers.aptoslabs or aptoslabs.com/careers. Please feel free to make an application if you do want to apply for one of the jobs, and we'll get back to you. Usually here, like if you have a friend, your grandmother, a grandfather, their friend, their boyfriend, whoever. aptoslabs.com/careers. Thank you.
Bring your entire family to work at Aptos.
Yeah. Eka Vidal. You have a question? Okay, I'm going to bring up somebody else for the time being. What we got here on the list here. Alexi from Everstake, I believe, is next. And I'm going to the previous speakers, I'm going to start kicking you off so there's more room. Don't worry about that. If I can figure out how to do that. There we go.
Hello, do you hear me?
Hello, welcome.
Hi, sorry, I haven't heard you said my name. Excited to be here. Hello, everyone. My name is Alexi. I'm from Everstake. Everstake is one of the largest validators with over 500,000 users. So I was excited to hear a story about the basketball, how you guys met, because I also like to play basketball. Maybe not the best player, but I still like to do it. So my question is kind of related to kind of your friendship and the project itself. Can you tell me what was your yeah, we did it moment when you first understood yeah, this project will develop, and what will be your next we did it moment? Thank you.
Oh, this is a good one. Okay, maybe a little history is required here. So I was involved in the Libra, then DM and Novi project for 3+ years. And I think what drew a lot of the folks in this team actually to it was really the idea of how we would kind of have decentralized assets kind of 24/7 available worldwide, and how that would change the financial system in general. And I guess the first aha moment was kind of when we had our kind of launch in our private mainnet, and that was really exciting to see many different operators coming together and see the software kind of working flawlessly the way we expected it to. But there was obviously some challenges working there, and we were unable to launch a network from within Meta. And now going forward with Aptos, kind of bringing it a second life, and seeing the team that's come together here and really kind of join forces, not with many of the former folks that we work with in the Libra Novi days, but also with many new exciting folks in Web3, Web3 natives, as well as Web2 folks as well. They're just really passionate about infrastructure building. Obviously, the network launch was something that was incredible for us to see. So many things came together so quickly, and not just on the infrastructure side, but across the ecosystem, across the community that built. That launch was a super exciting time for many of us, in all across the board. For those who are kind of passively watching from outside, so those of us who are kind of in the war room, seeing the day of launch and making sure nothing went wrong. That was a huge moment for us. And I think going forward, we expect to see, many of those aha moments where I think our next upcoming launch, I think Brian just talked about some exciting project in Korea, in Zangle, about a quorum store, which is a really cool innovation on top of our consensus protocol, leveraging some of the key work with Narwhal and Tusk that our researchers had worked on several years ago, making it practical and even more advanced than kind of that version coming out. And then thinking about, again, as we see many of these other kind of large industry giants coming into Web3, being able to support their workloads and their customer bases at scale is going to be some of the coolest things ever, I think. And so I think by end of 2023, we're going to see many of those major players either dipping their toes or already having a massive adoption when it comes to some of those applications moving into the Aptos network. So those are the ones I'm particularly excited about. I'll pass off to Mo to see what's keeping him excited to go to work every day.
Man, I was gonna say I think I'm in the same group as Avery when it comes to things that were kind of like aha moments. But if I had to pick a slightly different one, I think there was certainly an emotional moment for me when I saw Topaz go live and I can actually buy my first NFT or mint my first NFT. And that just kind of made it very, very real, right? Like, you have a creator that has been making art. You have someone like Nick, who's been building an NFT marketplace for so long, and has ambitions of really changing the way we think about NFT marketplaces. But for me to be able to do it, to actually support a creator and buy that art and turn my my profile pic into that NFT was just amazing, to be able to show homage and support to the builders and the creators out there.
Mo, sorry to interrupt you. I cannot keep up with your new collections. I'm trying to be in the trend with Mo and Avery. I have to buy a new one next week, something.
Yeah, we should figure out a way of sharing maybe why we were buying what we're buying. But I do look at the art. I kind of look at things that might be funky and show a different side of me than I mean, you guys have seen probably the meme of me wearing a suit, fortunately and unfortunately, but I to showcase the dimensions that we have. But that was a real big moment, but also it was an amazing moment for our team that had been building this technology for such a long time, and they were doing the same thing I was doing. They were buying NFTs and supporting the community. So that was a really an emotional moment, I would say. I see Avery nodding his head. He agrees. I think the next big moment will be, when people start using Aptos and in a way where people don't even realize they're using Aptos would be an amazing aha moment. I don't know when that happens, and I definitely think by the end of this year we might be in an amazing place, given all the work that we're doing with off ramp partners like MoonPay, working with folks like Google on very interesting initiatives that will hopefully make public very soon. But just the way people use the internet today and don't have to worry about the pains of, well, do I need to get a separate internet connection to do dial-up? I mean, today it's, well, do I have to go out and get a separate wallet just to participate? It's painful. And so, we want that user experience not only to match that of Web 2, but we want it to be even better than the Web2 experience out there. And so we're pushing really, really hard, but we can't do it by ourselves. And this is where we need your help and your feedback. And so this would be my ask for the community. Help us make this a better place for the new future of the internet. Avery said it really prolifically and simply. This is the new internet, and we need a better way of using it than the ways of yesterday. And so, as we think about pushing this technology forward to its next generation with Aptos, we think that the set of user experiences have to be there for the next billion people. And we're working really hard, and we appreciate all the work that Topaz has done, all the amazing projects that the NFT artists have done and creators have done, and we know everyone's pushing the boundaries there. But help us see around the corner. Tell us what you want us to do and how we can help you so we can get there together.
Awesome. And let's see if I can pull up somebody else here. It looks like the last person, Admin Mir. Let's see. And thanks, Alexi, for asking your question.
Thank you for having me.
Hi, Mir. Do you have a question? Okay. Anything that you guys, Mo and Avery, you want to talk about while I pull someone up here?
Well, one thing maybe as an anecdote is that I don't know if you've been following Bro Bears, but there was a collection of Bro Bears where they were kind of yellow and red, and my wife Kay actually was like, "This looks like McDonald's," and we saw this Bro Donald's Twitter profile popped up, but we just want to throw some love there. That's a really funny thing. I hope that there's a collaboration between Bro Bears and McDonald's coming up in the near future.
All right, looks like Admin Mir's back.
On that point, I think Peter on our team has some history with McDonald's. Yeah, I would love to see Bro Bears being featured in McDonald's Happy Meals. Let's make that happen.
Admin Mir, go ahead and speak.
All right. So my question is, looking at the grants page, there are criteria for people to apply projects, fill in their information and all of that, which is quite fine. However, for the section that has to do with education, there are no criteria clearly written how a person can apply. For a person like me, I do my part to try to promote crypto adoption, especially in my native country here in Nigeria, where I'm working on a number of stuff that should go up very soon. So I don't know how if I want to apply for a grant, for example, now as in the education category, where I can promote Aptos along with what I am doing with the courses I'm offering for free and all of that. Talking about Aptos. So if I want to apply for a grant, what do I need to do? What information do I need to submit?
Got it. First of all, amazing stuff covering Aptos in Nigeria and probably representing all of Africa as well. So appreciate all that. In terms of what you can do, I would say, I'm on the site and kind of looking at the education initiatives. Just fill out the application as is. I'm going to follow you, and so send me a DM, and we'll take this one offline. But I think education initiatives are obviously very important for us, especially localized ones, right? And so we want to make sure that we're getting the right content out to inform builders and people that are excited about Aptos in those markets. So when we think about Nigeria, I think that's certainly something we can take offline and help you with. So and that's kind of in the short run. We have initiatives that are going to be shared broadly from the education side. In fact, we have content that's going to be going live for Move specifically, and additional content across just Aptos. So we can work with you behind the scenes to make sure you have the content that you need to help facilitate any education initiatives. But hopefully that covers your question.
Yes, awesome. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, we're in the last couple minutes of the Twitter space. So, Mo, Avery, do you have any closing comments, speeches, things that you want to say?
First of all, I just want to thank you, Greg, for co-hosting this. It's been a pleasure working with you for the many years we have been already. I'm glad you're not sick of me yet. And looking forward to the future with you again with Aptos. And I think the other thing I'd just love to say is 2022 was a huge year for the Aptos community. 2023, we have wilder and crazier ambitions, and it's going to be really exciting to see a lot of the technical innovations we have coming forward, the partnership things that Mo have talked about, really exciting things in the works there. And we think this is going to be the first year where we see that massive adoption, where we get to millions of daily active users, of adoption that has never been seen before in Web3. And we're going to be hopefully a big part of that. We're looking forward to partnering with many of you, working with this community to grow it bigger and better than ever before. And it's going to be a wild ride. So definitely hold on and get excited.
Plus 100 to everything Avery said. When I think about just 2023 and beyond, I kind of think about everything that's also not only going on with the Aptos community, but the broader world. And we are very sensitive and understand many things are happening, and we appreciate all the love and support that the Aptos community has showed us. And kind of in the spirit of poems, I'm going to recite a poem that Muhammad Ali, side story, my full name is Muhammad Ali Sheikh. So I kind of have to pay a little homage here. When Muhammad Ali was invited to give a speech at Harvard, they asked him to give a speech, and he kind of thought very hard about it, and he shared his poem. And the poem is the shortest poem in the world. Some of you may know this. It's me, we. Me, we. That's it. The word me and the word we. Four letters pieced together. But what it really means is something very powerful, and he kind of broke that down. In an environment where we now have an opportunity to be extremely individual and focus on identity, we can do it in a way where we can share that me with many, many people. But you can still be your individual without ignoring the power of community. And that kind of transitions to the we, right? By being me, but also being respectful to your community, whether that's in your local neighborhoods or this amazing virtual community that spans the globe, we are able to pay much more attention to we. And it really gives an immense amount of joy to probably all of us, where we have this beautiful community where we can be ourselves, but we can also be ourselves with an amazing group of people. Whether you're a dog person or a cat person, whether you like hip hop or you like electronic music, you can be yourself, but that doesn't mean that you can not love others as well. And so, what I'm really excited about for 2023, all those things that Avery said, but also being together and being ourselves in a very powerful way. So I'm excited to share ourselves, and also I'm excited to share ourselves with each other. And I'm looking forward to being me and we in 2023.
Great. And thank you, everyone, for visiting this Move Monday. We went over by a minute or so. If anyone still has any questions, you can feel free to DM me directly, and I can see what we can do about getting those questions as well. Thank you to all the people who participated in speaking today. And I hope the rest of you a good January. Thanks. Bye, guys.
Thank you, everyone. Bye, everyone. Thanks, Greg.